The fetal spine is parallel to the maternal spine, but the podalic pole is at the pelvic bone. Whereas in cephalic presentation, the head is at the pelvic bone. So we can see the reversal in the breech presentation. Next comes the incidence. Incidence at 28 weeks it is around 20%, whereas at 34 weeks it is 5%. There's a term that is after 37 weeks it is around 3 to 4%. In almost 3 out of 4 cases, spontaneous correction will take place by 34 weeks. That is almost in 75% of the cases, breech will uh, uh, undergo spontaneous correction. There are mainly two types of breech. One is, see this second picture. This is complete breech. All these three varieties are incomplete breech. So broadly it is divided into complete breech and incomplete breech. In complete breech, the attitude of universal flexion is maintained. As you know, universal flexion is nothing but flexion at all joints of the fetus. You can see here, there will be flexion at the shoulder joint, flexion at the elbow joint. In lower limbs, there will be flexion at the hips, flexion at the knee joint. So the universal flexion attitude is maintained in complete breech. These three varieties are incomplete breech. In incomplete breech, there are again three types. One is frank breech. First one is frank breech. Second is footling presentation. Third is knee presentation. Okay, so these three varieties are depending on the extension at the hip or knee joint. So first we'll go to the complete breech. See in this picture you can see there is flexion at the hip joint, and so the thighs are flexed and legs are also flexed. This is also known as flex breech because there is flexion at the both at the hip as well as at the knee joints. It is least commonest type among all the breech presentations. It can be seen in 10% of the breech presentations. Most commonly seen in multigravida because of the lax abdominal wall muscles as well as the poor tone of the uterine musculature. And at the presenting part, this is the presenting part. Presenting part is nothing but part which is occupying the lower pole of the uterus. Okay, presenting part consists of two buttocks and external genitalia and 2 feet. So when we do PV, we can palpate external genitalia, buttocks and feet. So remember, presenting part in complete breech is external genitalia, 2 buttocks and 2 feet. This is one of the variety of the incomplete breech. This is frank breech, also known as extended breech. Don't confuse between flexed breech and extended breech. Complete breech is flexed breech because the universal flexion is maintained. Frank breech is extended breech. So there will be extension at the hip joint. Okay, so flexion at the hip joint and extension at the knee joint. So thighs are flexed onto the abdomen, but both the legs are extended at the knee. So the feet are near the head, on either side of the head. Okay, so there will be flexion at the hip joint, extension at the knee joint, and it is commonly present in trimmy gravida because of the good tone of the abdominal wall muscle as well as the uterine wall muscles. And this is the most commonest type in breech presentations. So it constitutes around 70% of the all breech presentations. And presenting part consists of external genitalia and buttocks. And feet are on either side of the head. So presenting part consists only buttocks and external genitalia, whereas in complete breech, we can see external genitalia, feet, and buttocks. In frank breech, external genitalia and buttocks. This is the major difference between complete breech and frank breech. And this is the one more type in incomplete breech, that is footling presentation. In footling presentation, there will be extension at the hip joint as well as at the knee joint. So we can see feet below the level of the buttocks. Okay, it is most commonly seen in preterm, singleton, singleton breech presentations. Okay, so in this picture you can see one leg is extended, one is flexed. So we can see many variants. So in some cases we can see only one foot is extended. In some cases we can see both the feet are extended. Okay, so these are the foot varieties of the footling presentation. And next type in incomplete breech is knee presentation. In knee presentations, there will be extension at the hip joint and flexion at the knee joint. So when we do the PV, we can able to feel the knee. So knees are below the level of the buttocks. This is the knee presentation. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So complete breech is flexed breech. In incomplete breech, there are again three varieties. One is frank breech, second one is footling presentation, third is knee presentation. Footling and knee presentations are rarer. Most common is frank presentation. Breech presentation, cause for the breech presentation, but these maternal and fetal factors are known to be causing the breech presentation. So these are some of the maternal factors which cause breech presentation. One is uterine anomalies like bicornuate uterus or septate uterus will cause breech presentation, and multiparity because of the lax abdominal wall muscles, poor tone of the uterine musculature. Malpresentations are very common in multiparous women. And next most common is contracted pelvis. Next, because of the defective implantation in the placenta, like placenta previa, low placenta implantation in the lower uterine segment, or cornofrondal implantation of the placenta. Next is maternal obesity. Obesity will also cause malpresentations. Next, pelvic tumors. So all these are responsible for the breech presentation. Next, fetal factors. Fetal factors, fetal one is first cause is fetal prematurity, second factors which prevent spontaneous version, third is fetal anomalies. So most common cause for breech is prematurity. So before 34 weeks it is around 5%, right? At 28 weeks it is 20%, 34 weeks it is 5%, after 37 weeks it is 3%. So as the gestation age increases, spontaneous correction occurs by itself. So fetal prematurity is the important cause for breech presentation. And second reason is factors which will prevent spontaneous version. So there will be some factors which will prevent the version of the breech. So these are the factors which prevent spontaneous version. And breech with extended leg, that is frank breech. So because of the splinting of the legs, so spontaneous version is difficult. So it will remain in the breech presentation. And second most common reason which prevent version is multiple pregnancy. Like twins or triplets, so there is because of the less space, there is less movement of the fetus. And also because of the less quantity of liquor. And because of short cord also will prevent the spontaneous version of the breech. And Last cause for prevention spontaneous version is intrauterine fetal death. Next is fetal congenital anomalies. Because of anomalies also, fetus will be in breech presentation. So most common reason congenital anomalies for breech presentation are anencephaly, hydrocephalus, myotonic dystrophy, trisomy 13, trisomy 18, trisomy 21. Okay. Excuse me. Next. Depending on the risk factors in pregnancy, again there are two clinical varieties in breech presentation. One is uncomplicated breech, second is complicated breech. So apart from breech, if there are no other associated risk factors, it is known as uncomplicated breech. If the breech presentation is associated with the risk factors like prematurity, twins, contracted pelvis, placenta previa, preeclampsia, eclampsia, hypertensive disorders of pregnancy, gestational diabetes, pregestational diabetes, or other medical disorders, it is known as complicated breech because all these risk factors will adversely influence the prognosis of the baby. Next comes the recurrent breech. So, if there is breech presentation in all the three pregnancies consecutively, it is known as recurrent breech or habitual breech. Commonest reason for recurrent breech are congenital malformation of the uterus like septate uterus or bicondylar uterus. And next common reason is repeated cornofundal attachment of the placenta. And next comes the diagnosis. Diagnosis is made by clinical examination. Confirmation is by ultrasound. Clinical examination is both by abdominal examination and vaginal examination. This is abdominal examination. So fundal height will be almost same. It corresponds to the period of gestation. On fundal grip, we can feel hard, round, palatable head. Whereas in cephalic presentation, we feel broad, soft, irregular mass. Whereas in breech, we feel hard, round, palatable head. This is the major difference between breech and cephalic presentation. Next comes the second grip or lateral grip. In this lateral grip, vital back is palpable as smooth curved structure on one side and limbs has irregular structures on opposite side. So this does not differ between breech and cephalic presentation. Next comes the pelvic grip. In pelvic grip, broad, soft, irregular mass will be palpable, which is not palatable. Remember, only head is palatable, breech is not palatable. And next comes the fetal heart sounds. Fetal heart sounds will be audible around the umbilicus, whereas in cephalic presentation, they will heard in spino-umbilical line. As in breech presentation, they are heard around the umbilicus. So before the engagement, fetal heart sounds are heard above the umbilicus. After the engagement, they are heard below the umbilicus. So these are the major differences between complete breech and frank breech. Okay. So after the diagnosis of the breech, we should know whether it is complete breech or frank breech. So these are the abdominal findings. These are the vaginal findings. So on abdominal examination, head is hard and globular mass on fundal grip and it is palatable in complete breech. Whereas in frank breech, we can see the hard globular mass on fundal grip as well as irregular small parts of it may be felt by side of the head. So head is non-palatable. Even though head is palpable on fundal grip, it is not palatable because of the splinting action of the legs on the trunk. Next is the umbilical grip. In umbilical breech, fetal back will be felt on one side and limbs on the other side in complete breech. Whereas in frank breech, irregular parts are less felt on this side, but back is felt on the one side. And next comes the pelvic grip. In pelvic grip, in complete breech, there will be soft, broad and irregular mass will be palpable. But usually it is not engaged during pregnancy. It gets engaged only during labor in complete breech. Whereas in frank breech, small, hard and conical mass will be felt. And usually during pregnancy, breech will be engaged. And fetal heart sounds. Fetal heart sounds are located at higher level in complete breech because of the non-engagement of the breech. Whereas in frank breech, they are located at a lower level in the midline because of the early engagement of the frank breech. And next comes these are the per vaginal examination findings. In PV, if the cervix is not dilated, we should palpate the fetal parts through the lateral fornices. So, we can palpate soft and irregular parts through the fornices in complete breech. Whereas in frank breech, because of the sacrum, there will be hard feel of the buttocks. Okay, so sometimes we may confuse with the cephalic presentation also in case of frank breech. And if the cervix is dilated, we can feel the fetal pass through the internal os. So we can palpate ischial tuberosity, sacrum, and the feet by the side of the buttock in complete breech. Whereas in frank breech, you can palpate only ischial tuberosities, anal opening, and sacrum. So there is no feet in frank breech. Whereas in complete breech, we can feel feet on either side of the buttocks. So, and you should know how to identify the fetal foot in PV examination. So, heel will be prominent on PV examination, and also great toe has lesser mobility when compared to the thumb. So, this is the identifying feature for the fetal foot. And next comes this is the differentiating features in PV examination between breech and cephalic presentation. As you know, when we do PV in cephalic presentation, we can feel fontanelles, that is anterior fontanelle, posterior fontanelle, and sutures, like mainly sagittal suture. So, whereas in breech, we can feel external genitalia, anus, sacrum, and ischial tuberosity in frank breech. Whereas in complete breech, we can feel along with ischial tuberous sacrum, anus, external genitalia, we can also feel feet. Okay, sometimes we may confuse face presentation with the breech because face is also very soft in on PV examination. So these are the differentiating features between the face and breech. So, and jaws will be less yielding in face presentation, whereas in breech we can feel the muscular resistance of the anus. And while doing PV, finger will be meconium stain in breech presentation, whereas in cephalic presentation, finger is not meconium stain. And these are the bony prominences. Ischial tuberosity and anal will be in straight line in breech presentation, whereas in face presentation, the balar eminences and mouth will form a triangular pattern. Okay. And next comes the footling presentation. So one or both feet will be inferior to the buttocks. These are the major differences between the cephalic presentation and breech presentation. Next, after the clinical examination, always we should confirm the clinical examination findings by doing an ultrasound. So these are the ultrasound features in breech presentation. So to confirm, by doing ultrasound, we can confirm the diagnosis of the breech presentation, and also we can make out what type of breech it is, whether it is frank breech or complete breech. And also We can know the gestation age of the fetus, estimated fetal birth weight, and to exclude congenital anomalies in the fetus. Okay, also, suppose if the patient is coming for the first time, we can diagnose the unsuspected pinch also, and presence of nuchal horns, and placental localization, where it is implanted, whether it is in upper segment or lower segment, and as well as amount of light care can also known by the ultrasound. One most important thing we look in ultrasound is hyperextension of the head. So the flexion or extension, that is attitude of the head, will make the mode of delivery. We can, by seeing the hyperextension of the head, we can come to a conclusion by what mode the breech can be delivered. So in ultrasound, we should look for hyperextension of the head also. In some breech presentation, there will be complete hyperextension of the head that looks like stargazing fetus. So it is also known as stargazing fetus in hyperextension of the neck, because the head is completely extended and it is looking into the sky as though it is looking the stars. So next comes the mechanism of labor. So before going into mechanism of labor, we should know what are the positions, commonest positions in breech presentation. So left sacroanterior is the most common presentation in breech. So second common is right sacroanterior. Third common is right sacroposterior. Fourth common is left sacroposterior. Left and right sacrotransverse and direct sacroanterior posterior are very rare varieties. So you just remember, first most common presentation is left sacroanterior. Sacro, this is right sacroposterior. So sacrum is towards the sacroiliac joint. And here sacrum is toward the iliopubic eminence. Okay. In posterior position, sacrum is towards the sacroiliac joints. In anterior positions, sacrum is towards the iliopubic eminence. So most common is left sacroanterior. This is the most common presentation position of breech presentation. Okay. So before going into the mechanism of labor of the breech, we should know normal mechanism in cephalic presentation. That is the basis for all the presentations. Okay. So in mechanism of labor, there are certain events. All of you know, the first event is engagement. That is greatest transverse diameter of head crossing the pelvic rim is engagement. Next is descent. Okay. After descent, there will be flexion. After flexion, there will be internal rotation. So, after internal rotation, the head will come and sits behind the pubic symphysis. That is, occiput will be behind the pubic symphysis. So, after internal rotation, head will deliver by extension. After extension, there will be restitution followed by external rotation. So, more or less, all the movements are same in other malpresentations also. So, you should remember the basic thing first before going into the mechanism of labor in breech presentation. So, principal movements occur in three parts. Delivery of the breech is the first thing. Second thing is delivery of the shoulders and arms. Third is delivery of the head. So breech and shoulders are more compressible when compared to the head. Head is non-compressible. So breech and shoulders will deliver easily. So difficulty arises in the delivery of the head. So first is delivery of the buttocks. First thing is engagement. Okay. Second is descent. Third is flexion. Fourth is internal rotation. Fifth is birth of buttocks. Next is restitution. So after delivery, in any delivery, there will be restitution followed by external rotation. So engaging them, we should know what is engaging diameter? What is the diameter of engagement? Diameter of engagement is in pelvis. That is transverse diameter or oblique diameter. Okay. Engaging diameter is in fetus. Okay. So engaging diameter in breech is bitrochanteric diameter. That is around 9.5 to 10 centimeters. So this diameter will enter in one of the oblique diameter. Okay. In left sacro anterior, it will enter in the left oblique diameter. In right sacro anterior, it will enter in the right oblique diameter. Oblique diameter extends from the, where does it extend? Sacroiliac joint to the iliopubic eminence. See, there will be, after the engagement, there will be descent of the breech. So descent. See, there will be descent of the breech. This is right sacro anterior. See, this is the left side of the mother. This is the right side of the mother. So this is the right sacro anterior. So after the descent, what will happen? Always remember, once it touches the pelvic floor muscle, there will be internal rotation of the fetus. Okay, sacrum will come and lie behind the, this is pubic symphysis. Okay. So this is the vaginal view. Okay. Before the internal rotation. This is the abdominal view or lateral view. So this is before the internal rotation. So after descent, there will be internal rotation. So after internal rotation, anterior bit of buttock will come and hinges behind the pubic symphysis. Okay. So after descent and internal rotation, there will be further descent. Okay, so that anterior buttock will hinges on the pubic symphysis and posterior buttock is the first delivered part. So posterior buttock will deliver lateral flexion followed by anterior buttock. So remember, buttocks will be delivered by lateral flexion. Head is delivered by extension. Here buttocks are delivered by lateral flexion. So here buttocks are delivered followed by the trunk. So after delivery of the trunk, there will be restitution. So during internal rotation, there was twisting of the trunk. So this twisting of the trunk will be reversed. There will be untwisting of the trunk during restitution. So restitution will take place in the direction of the internal rotation. So after restitution, there will be external rotation of the trunk. So next comes the second part, that is delivery of the shoulders and arms. The events are same, like engagement. First thing is engagement. Second step is descent. Third is internal rotation. Fourth is birth of the shoulders. Fifth is restitution and external rotation. See. So here the engaging diameter is bisacromial diameter, that is around 12 centimeter. Bisacromial diameter is distance between acromial process of the scapulae. So this is the bisacromial diameter, is around 12 centimeter. It enters the pelvis in the same oblique diameter of the buttocks. So buttocks enter in the left oblique diameter, shoulders will always enter in the left oblique diameter because these are in the same plane. Buttocks and shoulders both are in the same plane. Okay. So after the engagement, there will be descent. So when it touches the pelvic floor muscle, there will be rotation of the anterior shoulder by 1/8 of the circle. Okay, so anterior shoulder will come and hinges behind the pubic symphysis. Posterior shoulder is in the sacrum, near the sacrum. So with the lateral flexion, posterior shoulder will be delivered first, followed by the anterior shoulder. Okay, so always remember, first engagement, descent, internal rotation. After internal rotation, there will be further descent. After descent, there will be lateral flexion. By lateral flexion, posterior shoulder delivers first, followed by anterior shoulder. Okay, so after the delivery of the shoulders, Next thing is restitution. So there will be external rotation of the restitution followed by external rotation. So after restitution, this anterior shoulder is towards right thigh, left sacro-anterior, and towards left thigh, right sacro-anterior. Okay. So after restitution, there will be external rotation. So after external rotation, entire back of the fetus will be facing upwards. That is dorso-anterior. Okay. So after the trunk rotation, next is the delivery of the after coming head. These are the events which takes place during the delivery of the after coming head. Remember, this is known as after coming head. So breech is delivered, trunk is delivered, shoulders are delivered, only head is remain inside the pelvis. So these are the events in the delivery of the after coming head. First is engagement, second is descent, third is flexion, fourth is internal rotation, fifth is delivery of the head. So here the engaging diameter is suboccipito-frontal diameter. Remember, so head is not in full flexion. If it is in full flexion, which is the diameter of engagement? It is in full flexion. Come on, anyone can answer. It is suboccipito-bregmatic. Okay, bregma is here. So in full flexion, engaging diameter is suboccipito-bregmatic. But here, the fetus is not in full flexion. Full flexion means chin will touch the sternum. Here, chin is not touching the sternum. So, it is not in full flexion. So, engaging diameter is suboccipito-frontal diameter. So, it is around 10 centimeters. So, always remember suboccipito-bregmatic is the smallest diameter of the engagement. That is 9.5 centimeters. So, suboccipito-frontal is around 10 centimeters. So, engaging diameter is suboccipito-frontal and breech presentation. So it and diameter of engagement of the pelvis is opposite oblique diameter. Suppose if it is left sacro-anterior, it will engage in the right oblique diameter. Okay, so it engages opposite direction of the buttocks and shoulders. So after the engagement, there will be descent of the fetal head. So descent will be till it touches the pelvic floor muscles. When it touches the pelvic floor muscle, there will be anterior rotation by 45 degrees or internal rotation by 45 degrees, so that occiput will come and hinges under the pubic symphysis. So this is after the internal rotation, right? Next, there will be further flexion after internal rotation. So the flexion of the head should be maintained till the delivery of the head. Okay, so this is after internal rotation, head is delivered by flexion of the head. So first part delivered is chin, next is mouth, next nose, next forehead, next vertex, next occiput. Last part delivered is occiput. So it will be delivered like this by flexion of the fetal head. Okay. So head is delivered by flexion in breech presentation. Okay, and buttocks are delivered by lateral flexion, shoulders are delivered by lateral flexion, where head is delivered by flexion of the fetal head. Next comes the complications. Why we should worry about breech delivery? Okay, so because there are so many complications by conducting vaginal delivery. So the maternal morbidity as well as perinatal mortality and morbidity is increased in breech presentations. So these are the maternal complications. Because of the manipulations we do by conducting breech delivery, there is trauma to the genital tract. Like there are lacerations to the vagina, there are cervical tears, extension of the episiotomy. Sometimes there are third and fourth degree perennial tears also. And most of the times it requires generous episiotomy and forceps delivery for the aftercoming head. So obviously with operative vaginal delivery, there are more lacerations or vaginal tears. And cesarean section, the incidence of cesarean section is increased in breech presentation. And if it is prolonged labor, sepsis also increase. And there is risk of anesthesia complication in case of cesarean section. So overall maternal morbidity is increased in breech presentation. Next, fetal complications. So there is a risk of intrapartum fetal death during delivery of the breech presentation because of the delay in the delivery of the head. We should deliver the head within 5 to 8 minutes after the delivery of the buttocks. So if there is any delay in the delivery of the head, there is a risk of intrapartum fetal death. Next, second most complication is there is a risk of intracranial hemorrhage. In vertex presentation, there is molding of the head. As you know, molding is overlapping of the skull bone. So the diameter of engagement will be decreased. So lesser diameter is presented to the pelvis. So delivery will become easier. So whereas in breech presentation, there is no molding of the head. So during the delivery of the aftercoming head, there will be sudden compression followed by the sudden decompression. This will lead to tear of the tentorium cerebellae, which leads to subarachnoid hemorrhage. So this risk is more common with the preterm breaches. Next most common complication is birth asphyxia. So there is a risk of cord compression after the buttocks are delivered, and whenever the head enters the pelvis, this head will compress the cord. So there is a risk of birth asphyxia because of the cord compression. And also before the delivery of the head, sometimes there will be retraction of the placental side. So blood supply to the fetus will be decreased. Because of this, there will be birth asphyxia. And also after the buttocks are delivered, sometimes this premature attempt at the respiration will take place in some fetuses. So this will also lead to birth asphyxia. And the delivery of the head should be within 5 to 8 minutes after the delivery of the buttocks. So the delivery of the head is delayed. Also, there is a risk of birth asphyxia. In footling presentation or knee presentation, after the membranes are ruptured, there is a risk of cord prolapse. This also leads to birth asphyxia. So there is a risk of intrapartum fetal death. Second is intracranial hemorrhage. Third is birth asphyxia. Fourth one is birth injuries. Birth injuries are more common than vertex presentation, almost 13 times more common than the vertex presentation in breech. So these are the various birth injuries while conducting the breech delivery. There may be hematoma over the sternomastoid muscle or over the thighs. There are fractures of the femur, humerus, clavicle, and odontoid process. Or there may be dislocation of the hip joint, mandible, or fifth or sixth cervical vertebra and epiphyseal separation. And also there are soft tissue injuries like rupture of the liver, kidneys, suprarenal glands, lungs, and hemorrhage in testicles. And most commonly, there is a risk of nerve injury, like brachial plexus injury will leads to truncatus paralysis or Erb's paralysis. And also, there is a risk of long-term neurological damage because of the birth asphyxia. So these are the fetal complications. So if time is there, shall I continue external cephalic version? Shall I continue or shall we continue in the next class? None of you respond. Shall I continue external cephalic version?
Next class, ma'am.
Okay, then you all of you read this chapter today itself. Otherwise, you will forget. Okay, if you read on the day itself, you will remember well. Okay, thank you.